everybody, how we doing? Welcome to the roundup, and we are joined by Tommy Molloy, of Kilbirnie. And look, my surroundings are slightly different today because I'm in America. This is the first ever time we've had a transatlantic Zoom call for.
Mate, that commitment's unbelievable for you, PG, mate, doing it for America. Tommy, is that your dressing gown hanging up behind you?
Yes.
Lovely.
It's my stepdaughter's, mate. She pointed that out before it started. But
Knew you're a married man.
What's the time over there, Paul?
It is 1:25 in the afternoon. So it's a nice relaxed day. The first day I'm not doing it, man. Nice relaxed day. It's been a good time. But,
some weather, I bet you.
Oh, mate, it's 27 degrees in it.
Aye.
Brilliant
to have Tommy, boy, yeah. Tommy, boy,
mate,
man.
Good to have him back on. Good to have him back on. Because that we were going to, obviously I'd text you. You didn't know I was going to date today. And you were like, right, aye, well, Tommy's. I was like, that's cool. I was like, just tell him not to do it. Just bin him.
Unfortunately.
You're too nice, Tommy. You couldn't do it.
Mate, any time for the boys. I always tell you that.
I wanted to bin PG tonight, me and you to date Tommy, but we had to bring him in. Didn't have the heart to tell him.
No, mate, I appreciate that. Thanks, mate.
Anytime.
Right. Scottish Cup, the Senior Scottish Cup we'll start with. The Friday night games, Sagenta 2, Talbot 4, Pollock 6, Huntly 0. Moving on to Saturday, Darvel 8, Tynecastle 0, Benburb 4, Dundonald Bluebell 2, Clydebank 1, Spartans 3, Forest Mechanics 2, Glasgow Uni 3, Keith 1, Cumnock 3, Cowannon 4, Trinent 2. Dak, we will start with yourself. An absolute annihilation of Highland League Huntly.
Aye, mate, it was a great result, mate. It was a great night for the club, great night for the boys and personally for us and that, mate. So it was an enjoyable game. We came out and we scored 2 goals in the first, say, 15 odd minutes and knocked the stuffing out of them a wee bit. Don't get me wrong, Huntly had a couple of spells in the game where they looked threatening, but we managed to stay nice and solid. And then when we got that third goal, mate, we just kicked on and we really took them to the sword. And the boys were excellent. The boys that came off the bench were superb. There was a good atmosphere, mate, and it was brilliant to be in the next round. And we've obviously got a really good tie to look forward to in a wee few weeks and all, mate. So it was brilliant, mate. Really good display with the lads, mate.
How were Huntly? No, great. Right, mate, nobody for the Highland League's going to be watching this. Tell us if we're shite.
No, listen.
I'll speak for him, Paul. I fancied Paul massively. I watched Paul against Beef last 2 weeks ago, Dan.
2 weeks ago, Tommy.
And they let themselves down a wee bit. I thought Beef kind of done the dirty stuff that Paul never done, and I knew they wouldn't let themselves down going into this one as well. So,
Paul, totally agree, Tommy. It was night and day. You seen the work rate for our boys. We went back to basics that way, and we just told them you need to work, you need to graft, you need to put your body in the line, you need to make blocks, and the quality will shine through, and that's what happened, man. The work rate after the lads, the attitude of the boys was on the money right for the start as soon as they turned up and delivered. Huntly weren't great, mate. I think that they started decent for the first probably 10 minutes, but as soon as we scored, man, I think it spooked them a wee bit, and then the second half, I think the first 10-15 minutes of the second half, they've hit one that's kind of skimmed the post, and Josh has had a big save right before half time. But apart from that, mate, we always looked like we were going to go and score goals. And
see what Dak's saying. Dak, sorry to interrupt, mate.
No, mate.
Like, see, you're talking about the Scottish Cup draw, Paul. It's just, you're probably one winnable tie at this stage now away from getting a Premier League club. I know teams in Europe don't come into the fourth round, but surely now you've got to you're not going to win it, Dak. Do you know what I mean? But surely you need to be looking at it and saying, like, fucking Gaza and Aberdeen or Hearts, or I know Hearts in Europe, sorry, Hibs or something. Do you know what I mean? It's why not?
Yeah. But that's the thing. You look at it for last year. I know Clydebank obviously lost to Spartans yesterday, but I mean, I went down and caught the end of their game against Annan, and they should have went through, and then they would have had Rangers at home park. I mean, their team clearly sure are good enough to be getting to the second round of the Scottish.
It's just for like the fans and the players, and obviously as a management team, you want to be involved in big games as well. That's what we're in it for. But see, just that draw with the draw there half an hour ago, you're just pure buzzing. You're watching it on your phone or whatever, and it's that excitement, mate. That's why you want to be in these competitions and you want to stay in the rounds because.
I think as well that a lot of these clubs won't want to come to Pollock away or Kilbirnie away as well, because it's all right saying that our level of clubs want to play these higher clubs, but it's a banana skin for them, by the way.
Aye, there's nothing. We've all the teams in the West have done tremendous this week, and we've got nothing to lose, right? But see the thing is, see the facilities now. The West teams have got teams don't mind coming down and playing them now because the surfaces are outstanding and all that. Facilities are good.
I know, but I'm talking results wise. A lot of them won't. They know that it'll not be an easy gig to go to. They call probably Paul that non-league senior clubs. It's not as easy as a lot of them will think. So
no, definitely no. It's a massive result. Huntly's obviously a big name for up there, and I don't have any clue what the standards like a team's up there. But the 6-0, that's very emphatic. Moving on to the other Friday night game, Talbot beating Sagenta 4-2. I did fancy the Talbot for that. I know Talbot aren't quite where they have been in the last few years, but Sagenta's a good side with Gordon Wilde as their manager. You know what I mean? It's Gordon Wilde, but they're a good side who are flying out at the East. You know what I mean? And that's a good, comfortable victory going out there.
No, that's a good result. That's a good result for Talbot. But they're masters in cup competitions, but aren't they? So you might say they're no firing on all cylinders in the league.
I think they were doing 1-0 as well.
Aye, they went 1-0 down.
I was keeping an eye on it on Friday night, so
I think they went to 3-2 and on. They killed that off in the last minute, scored to make it 4-2. But especially going 1-0 down, it shows their character. But they're a really good side, mate. And
they do what they do in cup games, don't they?
Aye, brilliant, mate. Brilliant in cups.
Definitely a big win. Emphatic win for Darvel at home. I think everybody expected that to happen with how they're playing now. They look borderline unstoppable. And one I want to touch on is Benburn beating Dundonald.
Was it not 8 different goal scorers?
Was it 8 different?
Aye, look, do you know what, Dak? Paul, sorry again, mate. My boy said that to me today, Dak Lewis. It was 8 different goal scorers with Darvel, but Paul, just what you're about to say, I thought it is one of the results around where Benburn beating Dundonald.
Dundonald are sitting third in the East Premier League, which is obviously the winner of that plays around robin with the winner of the West and the South. You're like, the Bens are sitting mid-table, bottom half of the table in the first division. It shows the
It's a great result.
Aye, definitely. Excellent
result. Do we know who they got the next round, sorry?
Benburn. Wick Academy away.
Sorry,
away.
You need to fly up there.
I know,
it's not getting us off.
But again, that's Benburn will be favourites for that game, and you're probably around a bit attack. If you win that, you potentially can.
I don't think they'll be favourites, Tommy. I don't think they'll be favourites with the bookies, but I think with us and our confidence in the West teams, I think we would be hopeful that they can go up there and do the business, and I think they can do it. Do you know what I mean?
Definitely.
A big one for me. I don't know much about Forest mechanics, but a big one for me was Glasgow Uni getting that win. I mean, progressing to the second round, they're having a pretty solid season domestic in the league, you know what I mean? But see, getting a result against a team, I just think that it seems to be clicking a wee bit for them with their young side. I think that's a massive result for them.
I think it's a great result, mate. I've been up to Forest, mind. I went up for my brother's stag do, and we went there, mate. So they're a well followed team and a decent name up there, mate, so far. Glasgow Uni to go up there and do the business and win the games is amazing. And they've got Albion Rovers away in the next, I think it's away, I don't know if they're home or away.
No, they're at home. They're
at home. They've got Albion Rovers, which is brilliant. They've got nothing to lose there. And I fully agree with you, mate. Mark's done really well and started his job there really, really well. And they've had some good results both in the league, but that's a right impressive one for Glasgow Uni in the cup.
I think you said it earlier a minute ago. West teams have come out as well over the weekend. But good luck to everyone. I'm honestly, genuinely. We said it yesterday, talking to the coaching staff. There's no grudges. I hope they all win their cup ties.
I'm the same, Tommy, mate. Even there's no my loyalty's always with Pollock. That's the club I'm with, but I always want to see the West teams do all the other teams in it. As long as we all avoid each other, I want to see how far the West teams can go. Do you know what I mean?
Well, that was 7 out of 8 that won yesterday, which I think is exceptional. Sadly, the one that lost, Clydebank 1-0 up at half-time against Spartans. Spartans, it's a top side. I thought that was going to be a really tough game for them, particularly that Clydebank only having an excellent season. But I think Molloy will obviously be disappointed the fact they were 1-up at home with their crowd and then getting beat, which losing 3 goals in the second half is not good enough, I suppose, and they'll be really disappointed, particularly after enjoying last year's run.
I think with the feedback I got, I think that they were for large spells, they were the better team in the game and all, so that will be even more disappointing for them. But fair play to Spartans, you know what I mean? Especially to come back for 1-0 down. You know, we know PG when we went down there on Scottish Cup Day what home park can be like when they get ahead and the crowd are really good at supporting their team and that. And it's a good result for Spartans. I've gutted for them, but they did have a really good run last year, and I think that's what a lot of the fans would have been hoping for again this year. But it wasn't to be, and I think that it's just gutted for their fans and that. But they've unfortunately, but they did get through a couple of rounds, and they'll be disappointed with that.
I think coming up 3-1, going up to Keith, that was a really good win for them. Playing Dumbarton in the next round, the return of Faz to home down at Trinent Park, which I think will be really good. But a tough game because Dumbarton are absolutely flying, 10 points clear already after 7.
Only undefeated team in Scotland, didn't they?
That's right, mate. Aye.
Both are still losing the day.
Because Celtic get beat today.
That's right. We know that, mate. Thanks for bringing that up.
I'll talk about
that. But massive result. Winning 2-0 down Trinent. Trinent obviously showed their quality, putting out Darvel. He got into the Lowland League, but that's a massive result for Gorms winning.
Who did Kilbirnie get? Sorry, Paul.
Winning, they got Hurlford, which is
at home.
At home, aye.
That's what I mean about what Dak's touching on early. Faz is obviously telling his players what I expected coming up, but see his teams at home against league teams, it's not as easy as people think. I can guarantee there'll be an upset somewhere anyway. And
well, you gave, see when I said it was Forfar, you kind of gave well, Colin's still have a chance. Forfar a good side, 2 leagues above, but you know what it's like.
I can guarantee you there'll be an upset somewhere, and that could be the one you're looking at, Kilbirnie at home to Forfar, to be honest with you.
See that result, mate, for Kilbirnie, they were 2-0 down.
See that?
They were even more impressive.
I'm going to need to apologise. I missed out Drumchapel's result.
Aye.
Massive result for them yesterday. That's the fact that they keep going. That's a huge one for them, particularly with them. Because you know it's like, Tommy, we're going to get on to when we talk about First Division. They're not having a terrible season. They're not having a great season. Where we're not hoping that would like to be. But the fact that they're putting a run together in the Scottish now, after a preliminary round, first round. Got Gretna away in the second round, which they will fancy because I'd fancy the Drum to go there and get a result. It's fucking been a great season so far for our clubs in the Scottish Cup.
They're hoping that I've got good players, mate, and see what will suit them. Scottish Cup days will suit them because a lot of the players have played in the big Scottish anyway. Do you know what I mean? You've got that experience in there.
They've got a few boys for Greenock who I know as well. I think there's 3 or 4 there, but let's be honest. They'll probably beat Gretna, and that's you're a tie. I keep going back to it. You're a tie away. Dumbarton could potentially be playing Aberdeen or whatever. Do you know what I mean? I know. It's good on them. Good on them.
Definitely.
I text Toby last night about 8 o'clock, but no doubt he'd have been bouncing about that bus. He actually get back to me, but no, good on him.
Yeah, I'm lucky you were able to make out what you made in a text, man. That guy, that whole boy's brutal, mate. But no, well done to him, man. Because I had a few share bits yesterday to celebrate as well.
Right, moving on to the Junior Scottish Cup. Only 1 tie on Friday night. Petershill won, the Meda won. Petershill won 4-1 on penalties. I'm kind of a wee bit off the pace this week. Obviously, we've been away. I've not been at my phone much, and I know all the results, but I don't know how games have gone. But I think Neil got man of the match for Petershill. Don't know what I don't know if that means that the Meda were a better side or no, but I think Petershill needed that. They're definitely starting to turn the screw a wee touch and starting to pick up, because we know they're on a good side, and it's just going to take Molloy a bit of time to get them going.
And that's George Grierson's first game in charge, and all, do you know what I mean? And it was a big game in the Scottish Cup, and by all accounts, for what I've heard, and I've not seen footage, I think that Meda are a bit gutted they've not won the game. And you know what it's like when it gets to penalties. It's a lottery. It was Shelby scored for two Pollock, ex-Pollock strikers. Shelby scored for Peasy, and then Big Cal scored for the Meda. But that's it's a good result for Petershill in the cup, and it takes them through. So that's one of the bigger clubs. We've no lost one of the bigger clubs in the Scottish Junior Cup. But by all accounts, it was a good game, Friday night game. I don't know what the turnout and that was like, but well done to Peasy. And as you say, I think that McNeil, the goalie, get man of the match as well. So he's obviously had a good game and saved a couple of penalties there too. But always a lot of when it gets to the old penalties, isn't it?
Definitely. We'll move on to league action now. In the Premier League, Atherley 0, Cambuslang 3, Beath 0, Rob Roy 3, Glenafton 0, Trinent 1, Hurlford 2, Largs 2. Going to touch on 3-0 for Rob Roy. That's an absolute tremendous result for me. Beath have been doing really well under strain. They're starting to put some good results together. But Maxie, with the limited budget he's got, all his nonsense in the background, that's a phenomenal result. The fact that they are sitting second in the league, they're only a point off a Hurlford at tap, absolutely tremendous result. On you go.
Go for it, mate.
Go for it, Tom.
No,
We've been talking all the time.
That's probably the one that stood out for me as well, Paul, along with Cambuslang result.
Yep.
Away to Atherley, I know you probably touched on it, I think. Cambuslang probably had to win yesterday. But going back to, I texted Shawnee last night about the Beef game, he's a waitress now, but it probably just shows you that you can't predict anything in that league at all, because Rob Roy going away to Beef probably before the game, Max said I've settled for a point in there and get back up the road, but I totally agree with what you're saying. Credit him for the job he's done, because it's probably underrated, the job that he's done, and just goes under the radar a wee bit. And who goes to Beef and wins 3-0?
I know,
very
real. That Beath would have went top of the league as well if they'd won. So I mean, that shows that they're right up there.
Yeah, I think especially when we played them a couple of weeks ago, and we seen what Beath was all about, and they played really well in the night. So that's even more testament is what you're saying, Tommy, how well Rob Roy must played to get in there, keep a clean sheet, 1-3-0, because what we seen in Orbie, Josh Fowler, and that's a whole front and that, and then
I thought he was brilliant against yourselves.
He was good.
But the other one as well, and probably doesn't get credit he deserves, is Arnie going and picking a point up at Hurlford. I know Hendo does a great job there, but again, it's all right saying it's a draw for lads, but it's a hard place to go, and it's a point away to Hurlford.
You're playing top of the league to get a point. We've touched on it a few times. I did predict Largs to go down and have a tough season. They've only lost 1 out of 5. They've only won 1 out of 5. The draws might cause them an issue down the road, but
Largs have got a bit about them, mate.
They made them. I mean, see if they've still got Will Sewell. You're looking at Largs being a top 6 or 7 team, I think, because you can see he's starting to score goals at Stenny.
I think under Arnie they always come stronger as well as the season goes on, Paul, where Arnie's maybe at a stage just pick up points just now and then. We will come stronger the other side of Christmas, and it's not a fluke that he's kept him in that league every year. Top manager, and he's doing something right anyway. Do you know what I mean?
Hurlford will be a bit disappointed. I know they've went down to 10 men, and then they were 2-1 up, and I think Largs have scored in the 90th minute. So although it's a point, and then they've had 10 men, they've probably been a bit backs to the wall for the last maybe 5-10 minutes, with Largs pushing for an equaliser. But that'll probably be sore for them, because they were so close to the 3 points with 10 men. That would have been massive and brilliant for them. But it just does show you the character of Arnie's teams, you know what I mean? Never say die attitude, constantly work right through to the end, all in it together. But listen, man, Hurlford have been outstanding, mate. They're still top, aren't they?
Undefeated as well.
Still undefeated, still top. They were down to 10 men. They've not lost the game. they've drew the game. It sounds like a good entertaining game, and I think both managers, that's two.
Jack, I can guarantee you, I didn't know they scored the 90th minute. Hendo would have been home absolutely fuming.
The boys would have been flat and all. Tom, you know what it's like, mate, yourself.
But I also think that Arnig is a bit under the radar. What I said, I don't think he gets the credit he deserves, and it's all right saying stay in that league. It's tough, and he's done it every year with Args, and I just think that he's a wee bit doesn't get the credit he deserves, Arnie.
I think people that know the level well and know the players and the teams and that well, and the listeners or the watchers on PG and DAC know how good a job the likes of Maxi and Arnie and Hendo have done, because these guys have been in the job now for a long time at their clubs, and they've been exceptional at it. So I fully agree with you, mate. I think if you know a wee bit about the football, you know how much take an interest in it, you know how well they've done.
Well, that's the thing. We've not spoken to Arnie yet, but me and Dak have been trying to get him on for ages, but just the way it's worked between the two of us, that we've not been able to get a proper interview done in ages. And he's one that I'm really keen to get on, because obviously his playing career was excellent. He's done a great job there. Like you said, Tommy, the Cambuslang result, I was looking through my phone yesterday just before I went out. We went out for the day, and I was looking at my phone just before going out, and I seen they were 2-0 up, and I was like, that's a big result. Atherley won't be happy with that, particularly at home, but see, for Paul and Billy, that's a massive result for Cambuslang. Gets them off a foot of the table as well.
Yeah. See, keeping a clean sheet, brilliant for them and all, and they've obviously found the finish, the end product as well yesterday, and Big Anson getting a double and all, gets him rolling and back amongst the goals, and it's a brilliant result for Cambuslang, because they've had a difficult start so far. For Paul and Billy, that's really good, and I'm chuffed for them.
I think they had to win it, Dak, didn't they? To be honest.
Listen, I think Tommy, it's early days in the league, isn't it, for most teams? But I think it's like the longer you go about picking up that win, you end up it starts to creep in, and you're looking at the table every week, and you'll not get that win. And
I think you probably, the longer that run goes, I think when you come to a team again that come up with you, I think you probably think this is, we need to beat teams who come up with us, if that makes sense. So good on them. I know they worked hard up there at Cambuslang, and as I said, if I'm being honest, they probably had to win yesterday. Not with a relegate them in, but I just think for their sake they had to. It was a game against a team that come up with them, and probably.
See, if I'm being honest, Tommy, I think that obviously it's far too early to be speaking about relegation and stuff, like, seriously. But I think they lose that. Atherley go 6 points clear of them. They're going to struggle as it is. That 6 points is huge. Instead, now they're ahead of Atherley in goal difference, and they've gave themselves. They're in a position where a couple of results, and they're maybe 3 or 4 further ahead.
No, because how you shows you how early you can write teams off, right? Because in Kilbirnie last year, when Tommy Boy took charge,
I remember they
back in their fighting chance. Remember, Largs and Rob Roy put great runs together. The Bens put some runs together, and they were close to staying up, and some of them stayed up. So I think that what it does show is it's always too early now to predict anything.
It's very early to talk about it, but based off everything we know and we've seen, it's in a position where I feel like that's a big result for them, even at this early stage.
Of course it is. It's a great result.
Moving on to the final game, Trinent beating Glenafton 1-0. I think Trinent are just a wee kind of fly under the radar. That's a nice balloon you got there, Tommy. That's cracking it.
Step bottles in, mate, honestly.
It's a fly under the radar type team for me.
The bad book's been summoned to the Wayne's room.
Mate, certainly for a place I could get a charge on a laptop.
Is Phil Canny at your backyard now?
He is, mate, and he's not coming near
you. Do not bring that mental case.
He'll get you shut down, Paul.
Oh, mate, I know. I played him for 6 or 7 months, and that was more than enough for me. But
own Trin, mate. Trin have been really good, and I think that they're going to have a really big say this year what happens, because no team's going to find it easy against Trin. You know what I mean? They've got a good management team there. They've got good players down there. And I think that they're building something there that they're only going to go from strength to strength. So that's a really good result, because Glenafton had been picking up some good results here the last few weeks, you know what I mean? So for Troon, that is a top result.
Definitely. We'll move on to the first division. Blantyre 3, Neilson 1, Cumbernauld 1, Thorneywood 2, Kilbirnie 2, Bonneton 1, Rossvale 0, Glencairn 3, Shotts 2, Whitlets 1, the Roch 3, Johnstone Burgh 0. Tommy, we'll start with you as yesterday. 2-1, 1 up, went 1 each, and then was it a late goal to get the winner?
Mate, honestly, I'm always honest, Paul, and I told you, we were shocking yesterday. Honestly, and I'm not saying anything on here that I never says to players after, it's the worst I've ever seen us.
Really?
Ever. I'm not going to sit and go through it, but I just thought we were shocking. It wasn't an attitude thing, we never took him lightly. It was just everybody had an after at the same time, mate. Then I'll be honest, I was a wee bit embarrassed shaking Ross's hand after the game because it was robbery, but they will take points eventually off people. We went 1 up, we were comfortable. They equalised and they absolutely battered us, mate. And I'm not kidding on. I probably turned into coaching staff after 60, 65 minutes and said, we'll do well, we got a draw here. Battered us. They had a boy with a throw-in who was throwing it through our dugout to our keeper's head. But listen, nobody cares about performances outside. We're top of the league after 6 games, and if you offered me at the start, I would have bit your hand off.
Well, that's something I was going to say about Bonneton. Me and Dak have spoken about it the last few weeks. They've taken a couple of really hard results, but it appears they're starting to get better. The defeats they've had, even though they've still not won a game yet, the defeats they've had have been a goal or two, and they're pushing Premier League teams closer in the cups and all that. How were they yesterday?
Paul, honestly, they impressed me, and I'm not bullshitting or anything. I thought they were good. I thought they looked fit and organised. There's some players who looked very, very good, and I can guarantee you, if he has spoken 6 weeks back, they'll be sitting in points. They'll be. I don't know if it doesn't suit them playing in Astro down at their own park, but they will take points off people, guaranteed. They're caused us all sorts of problems all day because we're in problems at times. But if I compare it to everybody else we've played this season, the first 5 games, they were on par with other teams. If I'm being honest, it probably says a lot about our division. The bottom team on 8 points, we're still good. There's no lot between us. I was impressed with him, and I'm not just saying that because we had a bad day. Going back to what I said, I was a wee bit embarrassed shaking Ross's on after the game. It was daylight robbery. We absolutely stole that somehow. But you can't feel sorry for people, can you?
No,
it
shows some character, Tommy, but because you get days like that, and then, as you say, you've ended up not losing the game or taking the point. You've managed to find a way to get the 3 points, and as a manager, you're hoping that you're not going to get another day this season where all the players, if you're saying that, you know what I mean, that they've all performed badly on the day. Do you know what I mean? So. But as you said, mate, you're sitting top, mate, in the first 6 games, and probably one of the toughest divisions there is going about, and that include senior football. In that, in my opinion, there's that many teams can go and win it. So,
I agree, Dak, and that's twice now we've done it. We beat Thorneywood 4-3. We beat a couple of weeks ago, and we scored in injury time as well, and we weren't great. So that gives me a wee bit of inside thinking, well, we've got that character to go to death and blah, blah, blah. And listen, I know teams come down to Kilbirnie and they raise their game because we're a big club, if I'm being honest, but it shows me that's twice this season out of the first 6 games we've scored in injury at 90 plus minutes to win games. So listen, I'll take it because it'll happen to me one day, and it's happened to me before, and you get home feeling as if it's a fucking funeral in your house. Do you know what I mean? It's the worst feeling ever in football, but we'll take it. And I still, if I'm being honest with you, but us this season, there's a wee bit of me thinking, how have we got to top the league? Because we've not been creative, I'm being honest, and I still think we've got another level to step up and another gear to go, but we must be doing something right. I said to players yesterday, and I know friendlies don't count and stuff. I think I signed a whole new squad, Paul, and I signed 17 players and I only kept 3. And that was either going to go 2 ways. It would have made you look stupid after 2 friendlies. Who the hell's he brought in here? Do you know what I mean? Or they need to gel together as well and mix together. And I think we've played 16, 17 games counting friendlies. Is that with a squad, and we've lost once at Roch beat us in the league, and we've won or drew all the rest of them. And I just try to get into players like at that club. It's the expectation levels are bigger than they are at some other clubs, if I'm being honest. And like, I sorry to go on about it, but we beat Thornley with the game I spoke about a minute ago, 4-3 a couple of weeks ago, and I went in and went mental after the game, and I think it was a wee eye opener for some of them, thinking we won, but there's got to be you need to win and do extra down there as well. And
for me, you can only get away with the last minute goals and winning games. There's 2 ways of looking at it. Obviously, you can say, oh, well, that shows the character, which it does, but you can't do that all the time.
It wouldn't happen every week, Paul.
You can't do it all the time. But I think, like you said, the fact that you've replaced your full squad, basically, you've only lost 1 game. It's looking good for my prediction, so don't.
I know you put the pressure on us, but that's the thing as well. Like I was saying to your secretary last night, who I speak to probably fucking more than I speak to my missus, like, see every player I signed, we signed 17, every one of them have came from a lower level. But an under 20s are second and third division at our level. We've got a boy on loan for the Darvel, wee Max. He's the only one who on paper came from a higher level, if that makes sense. So it was either going to go 2 ways. I signed a few amateur players in the summer, and we've got a big fan base down there as well. It's all right saying you might have a bad game then again, but people got on your back down there, and it's how you handle it as well. Do you know what I mean? And
definitely. We'll move on to Blantyre and Neilson and our top of the table clash there. Gibby's doing some job at Blantyre. That's them sitting second place with a game in hand on yourselves, and if they can win it, they go top of the league. I think we're 1-0 down, so that's a huge result because Neilson, we know it's hard scoring 3 goals against Neilson.
Yeah, Blantyre have been excellent this season, mate, and I've seen that in pre-season, as I've already spoken about. But they're a good side, mate. They've got a good mix of youth and a wee bit of experience in there as well. So I think that they're going to be shown in the first 6 games or 5 games that they're going to be right up there because they're doing really well and they've won against other teams that you think is going to be up there. So it just shows you how strong they're going to be. And totally agree, Gibby's done fantastic, mate, assembling that squad now because it was a tough season for them last year and the boys, but they've stuck together and they've added well, recruited well, and they're going from strength to strength.
Aye, definitely. It's a massive result. The result I want to touch on, they keep throwing it back in my face after I predicted them to get relegated. The Roch beating Johnstone Burgh 3-0 yesterday, an exceptional result. The Borough, as we know, a very good side. If the Borough had won, they'd have been sitting top of the league potentially on goal difference yesterday. But they're all going to give them a doing, 3-0 at half time, game done, and then they see it out perfectly.
Yeah, Candy are on. The Candy they're playing really well and wee Davies got them. He's getting a right tune out the boys and they're performing. And I think they've ended up going down to 9 men. Sorry, I think it was towards the end of the game. I think it was already maybe 3-0 at the time. But I think they lost Starkey the goal in Daw, which that'll be a blow to them then for if they're suspended or anything like that. But what a result for the Candy. That was going to be a tough game, and they've won it quite convincingly by the sounds of it as well. And Davy's got the feel good factor down there. The fans are on getting right behind it as well. The feel good factors down there they know, and they go from strength to strength. They can do it.
Yeah, definitely a huge result. Glencairn beating Rossville 3-0. That's them starting to hopefully pick up some points because it's been a bit of a mixed bag. That was their first win yesterday, drawing 2 and losing 1 and their 3 before that. Rossville, it's going to be a long season for them. Conceded 19 goals in the first 6 games, still without a win, only got 1 point. But Glencairn, it was only a matter of time for me before they started to rack up some points. They're a far better side than than their league position shows. What do you think about them, Tommy? Have you played them yet?
We played Rugby near the end of the season, mate. I was very impressed with him. I would expect him to be up there when it comes to it at near the end of the season. You're right what you say, Paul. I think they've had a wee bit of interruption with cup games or whatever, and we've played a couple of games more than them as well. But listen, see, I'll be honest, if somebody says to me at the start of the season, if you finish against Rutherglen, you potentially get promoted, I think they'll be there or thereabouts, especially with their aim. It's a hard place to go as well, and some good teams there, some good players, and an experienced manager, so they'll be there or thereabouts, I would expect.
You would think so. You look at the other game, the final Rook game, Shots beating Whitlets 2-1. Shots, a team that I thought would have done better. Sorry, we'll get Cullen I'll touch on as well. I thought Shots would have done better. That was only their second win out of 5. Whitlets, after winning their first 2 games, though, lost 4 in the bounds. It's I think they'd expect better, particularly with a great start they've had, but they don't get leathered off anybody. All their games are always very tight. I mean, they've lost 4 games and their goal difference only -3. You know what I mean? They're a stuffy team.
That's what that league is, mate. That league is.
I know.
That league,
Aye.
I think that's a bookie's dream. That league, because you can't predict winners every week, mate.
Tact, you took your words out my mouth there. Like, see, going back to what Paul was talking about earlier, like the Johnstone Burgh and St Roch's game, probably sums your league up. I'm not saying St Roch shouldn't have beat them, but did anybody think it would be 3-0? Do you know what I mean? It's early. It's a lottery every single weekend. Going back to Shots as well, I know Big John really well and friendly with him, and like that's a hard place to go as well. It's all right. I know you're saying they never started great, Paul, but see if you go to Shots and win a game, it's massive. We've got them in 2 weeks actually away. And
but I think that between their good cup result, I think they beat Kilbirnie maybe in a cup, and then they've won there, so they've probably won 2 of their last 3 games, albeit they've not been in the league. But apart from that one yesterday, but mate, it's a very, very good league, mate. And Thornleywood, you were talking about, wasn't it?
Thornleywood, great win for Thornleywood. That's 3 out of the last 4 they've won. Kilbirnie, that's their first defeat. But even looking at the league table now, I mean, apart from yourselves, Tommy, yous and Blantyre, after that, everybody below yous have dropped points in at least half their games. And that's like Nielsen, who could have went to April League yesterday, but they've dropped points in 3 out of 16. You know what I mean? And that's the way this league's going to go.
Paul, our league is going to be mental till the end, and I just keep saying we need to stay with the pack. Get you at halfway stage if you like, and just see where we up. But it's who really can predict who's going to go up in the league. It's
seeing that league, I think if somebody can put a wee 7, 8, 9 wins on the Browns together, then that'll just gear up. But do you see it happening with the quality in it?
No, even clubs like St Cadoc's, Drumchapel, Blantyre, Shots, Johnstone Burgh, how do you even second guess who's going to win the Saturday, never mind who's going to get promoted?
That first season, when it was the way it was done with the seedings and that, and it was a bit all mix, like a mismatch basically. But this season is shown in every single division how that it's all kind of panned out the way that they should be. And PG, I know you speak a lot about that, mate. And to see teams are maybe at a level and it's a lot more competitive.
I think you said it, Paul. I watch the show every week, obviously. I think you said it at the start. Like, our league is, you cannot predict it. It's just, you couldn't even predict who'll go down, never mind go up. Do you know what I mean? And
that's where Dak obviously sitting on the fence like he does, but that was one of the ones where, even though I was taking a piss, it's hard to slaughter him too much for saying like he couldn't pick who would go down, because I mean I've picked the Roch, absolutely flying them. I mean, it's just, I've never seen that coming.
They beat us, Paul. They beat us 1-0 and probably bullied us all over the park.
I mean, Davy's doing a great job there.
We'll
move on to the second division.
Let's go to another division that you can't pick. You can't pick winners in the second division. Let's go.
Greenock 3, Ardere 1, Kilsyth 4, Glasgow United 3, Maple 1, Perthshire 1, Muircup 2, Craigmark 5, Renfrew 3, Forth 1, Ants 2, Maryhill 1, Wishaw 0, Ashfield 4. I'll start on the top of the 3. Renfrew make it 5 out of 5. Conceded 4 goals in 5 games, scored 14. Absolutely flying it. We both tipped them back to win the league. And I'm not saying that they will. It's no guarantee, particularly with how well Craig Mark are doing. You've got Ashfield absolutely flying now. Renfrew look like they're going to be hard to stop now, though.
Yeah. I think they're very good, mate. And Jimmy's taking the team manager. I know he was assistant manager, and I know he was probably very hands-on with the team anyway, but he's taking it dead quickly to management game, mate, and he's done tremendous. His record probably since he's took charge for the team last season to now is probably magnificent. Do you know what I mean? He's not lost many games, so no, they'll be good. They'll be tough nut to crack, and that's why we've had them up there, PG. And I think that 5 out of 5, perfect record, 100% record. You can't ask for any more, but there is some good teams in that league that will push them though.
Well, on second place, Craig Mark. They obviously had the slip up last game 2 weeks ago. Giving Muirkirk a bit of a going over 5-2 away. Muirkirk having a real tough time after winning their first game. The season I predict them to get relegated, they did quite well. The season I predict them to do quite well. They're right down there. But that's a good result for Craig Mark. He's going to Muirkirk, you know, it can be a bit difficult going there. The park's relatively good. I quite like the park there, but it's a kind of a weird feeling about Muirkirk when you're doing
We'll be worrying, sorry Tommy, we'll be worrying for Muirkirk because that's a couple of heavy defeats they've took at home. That because Ashfield went down and took 7, was it? No, Ashfield no go down and score 7, and then you've got Craig Mark, who are a very good side as well, scoring 5. So Kev will be disappointed with that, but he's got some good players there, I think.
I had somebody doing what it's the Scottish Cup next week, obviously. We've got Perthshire, the winners play Craig Mark, Paul.
Right.
I think St Jetta have pulled out. So
that's right, aye.
We play the winners of us in Perthshire play Craig Mark. So I had somebody watching the game yesterday, Craig Mark game, and I spoke to him last night and they were very impressed with him. So
yeah.
No, it's
Addis has done a good job, mate.
Yes, he's doing a very good job. We've touched on it before as well. No want to talk guys about jobs or anything, but you look at the likes of Caddis and a couple other managers. See if you're getting Premier League managers going, which inevitably will happen later in the season. It's guys like that you start looking at, you're thinking, well, look at what he's done at Craig Mark, because I never remember Craig Mark in including doing this and my playing time, which is 16, 17 years at the juniors in the West. I've never known Craig Mark to be any good. And when you look at what he's doing with that team, I mean, they are a first division team for me.
Paul, believe it or not, when I was YTS at United, I got sent out on loan there for a month.
Is that right?
And they were, I'm not going to criticise the club, but they weren't in a great place at the time. So, no, I think he's done a great job, Ryan. And you're right, he's probably somebody where if a job come up, some people go and look at that. Maybe his age might go against him or whatever. He's not been in it long enough, but he's doing something right.
He's earned that, to be honest. For me, it's the same way with Jamie at Johnstone Burgh. The fact that, I don't know, maybe there's discussions in the background and it's never been public, but the fact that somebody's not trying to take guys, let them away. But moving on to your former team, Tommy, talk to Nixon regularly. 3-1 win against Ardea. Spoke to him the other day about it, or yesterday about it, and he was saying they had a good game. He's starting to get them turning now. It's a very young team he's got. Sean will be bitterly disappointed because he was absolutely raging after the Renfrew game a couple of weeks ago. But that's Nixon.
2.5 and all, I think.
No, well, there you go then. But Nixon's starting to get that young team playing the way he wants them to play and getting some results now.
Definitely, mate. It's a brilliant result. I was speaking to him last night, and I think he's doing a good job, Paul. I know a lot of young boys he's signed down here. I think you're probably lucky if they've got 3 or 4 boys who are over 25, and no, he's doing fine, and that's a great result. I know Sean does a good job at Ardea, but I'm sure Ian's right now. If you offered Ian a start they've had, he would have took it in, because the young boys will be up and down eventually, won't they?
Wait, they're sitting at 10 points.
They're sitting by 10 points, sitting in 5th place right now after losing their first game.
Speaking to Dale, and that's a very, very good return, mate. 10 points.
Definitely, Dak. I think young boys they're not going to be great every week, because they'll let you down one week out of a couple and through inexperience, but fair play to Big Ian. He's done a good. He's showed a bit of balls getting in there as well, by the way. And taking
Yeah.
that.
You know.
Well, look at the last two results, lads. They've went and they've beat Craig Martin, then they've beat Ardere.
Yep.
Two good sides, you know what I mean, and two sides that you expect to do well this season. So that's testament to the job that they're doing at Green, in my opinion. That they're getting the boys bang into it.
I think that's a fair point, Dak, and you're bang on, and good on him as well. Because he's a right good guy, and he's a good football guy, and just he's obviously got him buying into it, because young boys are either going to buy into it or not. Isn't it? It's one of them ones that I'll listen to you, I'll know. So he's got him on their side. So good on him. Honestly, I'm couldn't be happier for him.
Moving on to your old club, Dak, Ashfield 4-0 against Wishaw away from home. Always a place I never liked going to was Wishaw. It was always dead bobbly, that pitch. Hard to play there.
See, before Dak comes in about Ashfield, I didn't know Bobby's playing there, Dak.
Mate, that's
my brother's pal.
You've took the words out, man. With Tommy, see them signing him, and he's the goals. He's chipping in with goals every game, and see what he'll do for his experience, and he's been there, and even just probably the lift he's gave the boys in the changing room, because they can turn around and look at a guy that's played a full career in senior football and all that. So for me, Mick and Jamie getting him and managing to get that deal done has been nothing short of magnificent, because I'm sure Bobby had some amount of options, Tommy, you know what I mean?
1,000,000%. He's very friendly with my brother, and I used to go and watch Craig Breakin and Bobby with travel ways, and right good guy. And if he became available, Dak, I'll be honest, I would have phoned him if I knew he was going to be available. And fair play, I don't know if he's mates with the boys at Ashfield or whatever, but they're doing well since
Ashfield are flying, mate. And I always listen, we the luxury, I mean, Maxie were part of the interview process for the Jamie and not getting the job, and that's why we were impressed with them, because they're good football guys, and they're young, but they're really switched on, mate, and the players are buying into it, mate. They've been very impressive this season, and it's good to see. I always like seeing Ashfield getting a clean sheet, mate, because it wasn't something it was a regular when we were there, mate. And I know that Jamie and that Jamie and Mick have had that a problem a few times this season himself, mate. So it's a great start for them, mate. And it probably could have been a wee bit better, because they threw a big lead away against Maple and that and all. But it's a very sound start, mate.
Well, the thing is, Dak, that we've spoken about it privately and on the show about how many good goal scorers that were at the club in your time and now still there. 23 goals they've scored. I mean, they're averaging nearly 4 goals a game. It's hard to stop a team, even if they're not defensively sound. It's hard to stop a team that's scoring goals.
I always, mate, it's one of the first results I go and look for, mate. I'm still pals with a lot of the players down there as well, and the committee I love, and Tam, the chairman, and that, still in contact with them all, mate. So no, it's brilliant to see, mate, and I always want the Ashfield faithful to get results.
Right, we'll rush through the rest of the results. I'm going to apologise to anybody listening for these clubs, but we are kicking the arse right out of it this week. Kilsyth beating Glasgow United 4-3. Massive result for Kilsyth, getting their second win. Glasgow United, I'd imagine they were pretty pissed off, and actually I think they were a couple of goals up. Big win for the Ants. They needed that, getting their first win, getting themselves off the foot of the table. But Mark will not be overly happy with losing at Maryhill, and Mabel and Perthshire drawn 1-1. Perthshire, that's another big result for them. We spoke about it a couple of weeks ago. They get a really good win. That's them starting to get some points on the go. And Perthshire's a tough team, you know what I mean?
We've got him on Saturday in the Scottish.
You know you're in for a hard game. I mean, I personally think he's would beat them, but you know you're in for a hard game at Perthshire. They're always a very tough team to beat. But that's a good result for them again, because Mabel are absolutely flying. Moving on to Division 3, East Kilbride 2, Carluke 0, Fanart 2, Saltcoats 1, Girvan 1, Lanark 2, Irvine Vic 6, Lugar 0, Kello 2, Vale Clyde 3, Larkhall 4, Port Glasgow 3, Lesmahago 3, Ardrossan 3, Royal Albert 3, Newmains 1, Vale Leven 1, Dorai 2. We'll start on East Kilbride. Gary O'Hanlon was relieved of his duties recently. A lot of rumours flying about the club. Aaron Conley stepped in, who, as I was assistant, he stepped in, 2-0 win against Carluke. It's what they needed. But look, they're having a really hard, poor season to be fair. But it's a big 3 points for East Kilbride.
There's a lot of rumours, and I think a lot of things been said in social media regarding East Kilbride, and I think it would be unfair. I know I like to sit in the fence, mate, but it'd be unfair until you knew what was really happening. But I don't like to see that. Gaz is an old teammate of mine at the Roch, man, and he was a great big guy, and I really like big guys. But for Azza to take it and get a win, mate, it's good for him. But I don't know what's went on in there. Do you know what I mean? So. But you never want to see, especially a young manager. Gaz is young, not I mean, he's about the same age as me. He's only probably about 36, you know what I mean? 36, 37. So you don't want to see somebody losing their job, you know what I mean? Especially if it's came under a wee bit dodgy circumstances.
The rumours are sure that a lot of people have heard them. They're not overly pleasant. It's hopefully there's no truth to them because it's not great at all. Game I want to touch on, Vale Clyde beating Kello 3-2. That's Kello's unbeaten, a perfect run finished. Vale Clyde, that's 5 out of 6. They've won 5 in a row in the league. I know they had the points. Did they get the points deducted for them?
Who?
Vale Clyde? They
no.
No. I know they I think they maybe getting.
No, Kello played somebody did Kello not play somebody in a cup and they get put
that's
through?
What it was. That's what I'm thinking.
But that's
Tact, thank God you're here to keep him right.
And I don't take notes, Tommy. I'm passionate about it. I'm making my job to know what's happening out there.
Everybody, thanks for watching. Take care. We'll see you next week.
Cheers.
Huge result for Vale Clyde against Kello, taking their unbeaten record after them.
Tommy, batter in, mate.
No, Kello's been. I keep an eye on them leagues. Obviously, Kello's been absolutely flying into every game. I think they won every game until yesterday.
6 in the house one.
So no, I keep an eye on them leagues, and I don't know much about Vale Clyde if I'm being honest, but Kello, what a hard place that is to go as well. So no, tough leagues. Them low leagues are very, very tough, and I think. I know you're probably going to touch on it, probably 4th division. I don't know how that's working this year. Does somebody come up now? If you get promoted to you? Aye, so they're in that as well. So
Fanart beat Saltcoats 2-1. Fanart are sitting in 7th place, 1-4, lost 2. So that shows
there's a pathway for these clubs as well, isn't there now? So it's I know it's took them a wee bit of time to adjust probably and foreigner in there who you know well, Paul, yourself. So there's a pathway now, Dak, for clubs, and quite rightly so. I know a lot of people turn their nose up at it, but why should there not be? For these clubs to.
There's a lot of good clubs in it. When you look at Threave now, but we'll get on to them. A big result for me is another one, well, 2 in particular, but where is it? Irvine Vics beating Luger 6-0. Irvine Vics are absolutely flying out. We obviously saw them when they played the Meda. Thought they looked really, really solid that night. That's after losing their first game. They've won 6 in a bounce. They've only conceded 5 goals in 7 games. A clean sheet again yesterday. They're having a really good time.
Brilliant, mate. A brilliant season. They're scoring goals. They're showing that they've got the ability to keep clean sheets. When we watched them, I thought they looked solid against Meda, didn't they, PG, mate? They were they looked as if they're going to be a hard team to break down, and I think Dougie and his players deserve massive amount of credit because it was a very difficult season last year, and I love Dougie boy, not mean so. But no, they've had an excellent start, mate, and they should be right up there and thereabouts. You know, confidence is high there, mate, and the fan base are buying into it now, and that's what they're doing really well.
Lark Hall beating my lovely Port Glasgow 4-3. That's a good result for them because even though the Port have lost 4 out of 6, they're a better team than that, and I think that they will start to come good. But I didn't see Lark Hall having the season.
I don't think Port are a million miles away from starting to pick up results either, mate, because I like Big Stevie and that and all, and they're very switched on. I think he has the right man, and he'll get them turning the screw. But Lark Hall, mate, score goals for fun, mate. They're an R4 again, mate. Know what I mean?
28 goals they've got in 8 games.
Brilliant, mate. Brilliant. Value for money, that, mate, down there.
Oh, excellent flying. Les Mahago 3-3 with Ardrossan are starting to turn a wee bit as well now after a less than adequate start that they'd have thought. But Les Mahago, another team having a cracking season. That's the first game that they've dropped points in 5. They're sitting in joint tap with Lark Hall. It's a really good season after having a couple of sticky years.
And when you've got Ginto, mate, the PG and Dark legend, mate, and you've got Chrissy Craig, mate, they've got saucy football players, and you've got half a chance.
Mate, that's it.
Tommy Boyle,
Gint's wears his PG and Dark strip under his.
They're training next Thursday, Tuesday now, Ardrossan. So I was talking to Liam the other night, slaughtering me about supporting Celtic as usual. What a player!
Aye, absolute class player. He was brilliant for us in that Legends tournament. A shout out to Royal Albert, 2 wins in a bounce. It's been a really tough couple of years for them. And what I think is really important, I think Tommy were talking about it in the Premier League with Cambuslang beating Arthurlie. They're beating Saltcoats and they're beating Newmains. That's the teams that they have to beat if they want to be looking at staying up. And that's a big result for them. Takes them into 14th place, and I think they'll be very happy with it.
Yeah, definitely, mate. And that was that. I fancy, to be honest with you, mate, that's brilliant for Royal Albert, mate. As you say, they've had the tough times here, but Newmains have an awe, so just shows you, doesn't it? Because Newmains have had a couple of good results, but that just shows you that Royal Albert, man, they're doing some good work down there, and they're getting that bit of improvement that they're looking for on the park, mate. So I'm delighted for Royal Albert because there's some right good guys in that down there.
Definitely. Moving on to Division 4, BSC 3, Campbelltown 1, Easterhouse 1, Kilsyth 3, Glenville 1, Thorn 4, Threave 2, Harmony Row 0, West Park 4, Rossvale Academy 1. West Park being we spoke about the discipline issues. It seemed like everything went well yesterday. That's a really good win for them after suffering their first defeat. They needed to bounce back well, and that was quite a convincing one. Because I think Rossvale will be quite a tricky team for teams to beat. I know they've only won 2 out of their 6.
West Park v Rossvale's always
it's always a local derby as well.
Local derby, mate. Bragging rights, aye. Bragging rights, and even when we were younger, it was any time I was a West Park boy, we played Rossvale, it was always the one you were right up for. So West Park 4-0, convincing win, well done.
2-0 to Threave against Harmony Row. I'm hoping that means that Harmony Row are starting to play a bit better now. They were not each at half time, because Threave have been absolutely flying. 24 goals in 5 games, conceded 1. They've been getting a couple of doings out. Harmony Row have been taking a few doings. So I'm hoping that means that they're starting to pick up. And now we have, not to labour too much on it because we've spoken a lot about it, but you've got some campaigns, even the club's social media are now coming out against the board, which is something they were only doing a few weeks ago. I've spoke to a few people, I've got a few connections in at Harmony Row, I've spoken to a few people, and everybody wants them out now. The fact that their senior team isn't part of the club, their amateur team has been told that after this season finishes, they're out, their women's team's gone, which basically, in effect, takes all their girls' teams out. It's a horrible situation for the club to be in. So hopefully
Harmony Row's too good a name and too big a club and too much an institution for daft people to ruin it.
Yeah, exactly. And hopefully that starts to change. Kilsyth beating Easterhouse 3-1. Easterhouse having a real tough time. It's still trying to get their first win. But Kilsyth, like Threave, perfect run, still intact. 5 wins out of 5. The two of them are looking very good this season. But the Thorn, after beating Glenville 4-1, I think that you're going to start to see an upturn in performances for them. They've won only 2 out of 5, but it's been a bit of a transitional period for them. And I think it's a club I know reasonably well, not too far from my bit. I think that they've got the right management team in there, and they've got a lot of good players. I think they'll start to push on later in the season as well.
Yeah. Tommy boy even took a player for form, didn't you, Tommy?
Did I?
Did me?
Know the one I told them to take as well.
Who was that again?
Who you didn't tell the managers to take players, PG? That's all your job title.
Mate, I'd be surprised.
Aye, Big Dino, he's settling in well. But he started yesterday actually, and again, I'll be honest, as I always am, and I told him at half time he had 5 minutes to get a finger out his backside. I think I took him off after about 90 seconds. But it's a learning curve for these boys where they come up for that level.
100%, mate.
Nah, it's a good side. Even obviously the one they played yesterday, but St Peter's beating Bells, having a friendly, having a clean sheet. That's going to be, this league will be a lot more exciting than last season, because BSC getting a win against Campbelltown. They've won 4 out of 6. You've got Threave and Kilsyth on 15 points. St Peter's, West Park, and BSC all on 12 points. It's going to be a really good league, I think, this season. And it's like you said, Tommy, that the pathway is there for these clubs. I think that Threave will have too much and they'll go up, and they're the most equipped, they're the best equipped to go up. But you're looking at Kilsyth, I don't think they'd be embarrassed in that third division. I don't think St Peter's would. I don't think West Park would. I mean, I think Thorn would probably be all right as well. There's a lot of quality in that.
Sorry, Paul. See the third division? Do they get down?
I'm hearing that there's 6 teams going down.
Well, that's what they're at. 19. Is it 19 teams? 19 teams in the third division. What I had heard, and again, it's all hearsay.
Yeah.
What I'd heard is that 1 up, 4 down.
Right.
So basically, it takes it to 15 in the fourth division, and they'll have 16 in the third division, and one will be added in, because I think the aim was always to have 5 leagues of 16 teams. That was always the aim for the West, was to have all the leagues with 16 in it, which I think there's been too many teams put into the West who probably haven't quite been ready for it yet, but they'll start to get there. So adding one more, and I think, see if you added in something like Giffnock or something like that, a proper
Hairstains or something.
Hairstains, East Coast Bride YM. But even look at East Coast Bride YM, somebody like that, who
their setups on you.
Oh mate, they're more than ready to come into this level. You know what I mean? Teams like that who, even I don't know.
Greenock High School,
mate. High school, mate. The thing is, I know high school haven't had a great couple of years.
Do you know
high school
Tiger's their manager now, Paul?
Is he?
Tiger, aye. Yes, seen that. I always look to see.
Good on him, mate. Good on him, Tommy.
Look to see if he plays himself, to be honest. But even at that, even at high school,
him trying to work his magic like a young Tommy?
Oh, he's not phoned me for one bit of advice, mate. All I know he's going through about 50 bits of paper on a Friday night and rolling them up and throwing them in the bin.
The thing is, we've all managed the amateur football. We know that what you have at 10 o'clock on Friday night isn't what you have at 10 o'clock on a Saturday morning. It's never that way. It's a ridiculous level to
no.
But look, Tommy, thanks for coming on, mate. That'll do us for this week. Just over the hour. I'm hoping for because I'm here in New York staying at my brother's house now, who my brother played with a couple of junior teams. I'm hoping to maybe do a wee interview with him, just to give a wee bit of content. Who's a former teammate of your brother as well, Tommy.
Yes, mate. Tigers, pal.
They played at a top St Mirren side together as well. I
had a message from my mate, by the way, Nicky, who's texted me, asked me what I was doing. I said I was on. He said if he's ever needed me to come on, he'll do it anytime.
We'd spoken to him about it not long ago.
He texted me saying if they need me on anytime, I'll do it. So
definitely, somebody would definitely.
Great days, I'll try and get in touch with Nicky and do something, man, even during the week of that, because he might be available.
If I love him, then we can get a wee bit of extra content out, because I apologise to everybody that it's not been the level that we have been before. We're just kind of working whatnot. It's been really difficult for us, but we're hoping to kick back on once I'm back from my holiday.
And Tom, it's midnight over here.
It's you get funny. Are you going to get the back with Phil and start getting tired?
I've got work.
He's gasping, mate. He's gasping.
They're going to go and cut down the goal mouth and all that at Largs and bust Sandy McLean's tyres and stuff. Right, everybody.
Boys, cheers.
Tommy, boy.
Thanks, mate.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers.